And our brave president survived a third attempt on his life, right?
It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great.
The new press secretary, Caroline, whatever her name is, I forget her last name.
Caroline Levitz. Caroline Levitz.
Levitt, okay. Yeah, she had a press conference and people were asking her what she plans on doing about all the naysayers and the people that say that it was just staged.
What I will say is it's very important to us that we get the truth and the facts about this case and any case out there as quickly as possible to dispel some of that crazy nonsense that you do see running rampant online.
All right. Welcome to 30 Minutes Off the Cuff, episode 30. Today is 4/28/26.
Hey, it's been a minute.
And our brave president survived a third attempt on his life, right?
It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great.
Hey, man, I want to believe it, but you know,
I saw a poll that said 60% of the people don't believe it, that it was all staged. And
yeah, and that's healthy. At least people now are
yeah.
just like,
I was pretty impressed
that do the next lockdown or whatever the crap they want to do.
I was pretty impressed that number came out. I don't know if it's legit or not, or who did that, but I have to go and find out who did it. But if it's 60%, I'd be really impressed. But the new press secretary, Caroline, whatever her name is, I forget her last name.
Caroline Levitz. Caroline Levitz.
Levitt, okay. Yeah, she had a press conference and people were asking her what she plans on doing about all the naysayers and the people that say that it was just staged.
Americans in this country
that believe that what happened Saturday night was staged. How does this White House tackle that with social media companies out there, whether it's X, Facebook, Instagram? How do they work with these companies to make sure that doesn't get out of control?
It's certainly a good question, Aisha. I don't have tangible answers for you on what we're doing with social media companies, if anything at all. What I will say is it's very important to us that we get the truth and the facts about this case and any case out there as quickly as possible to dispel some of that crazy nonsense that you do see running rampant online. And I think the Department of Justice and the FBI thus far have done a good job of disseminating the truth and the facts about this alleged attempted assassin, the perpetrator in this case. So as far as we're concerned, just providing maximum transparency.
And I was surprised that he was even made it to the press, that they even realized that like, nobody's buying that. And I think a response was that we're just a bunch of idiots and that the FBI is doing a good job keeping people believing their nonsense. So that was her response.
Hey, you know, I mean, hey, she's a loyal press secretary. I mean, I like her. I think she does a fantastic job. Sometimes I give her about, and since she's been in there, I'll probably give her about maybe 96%. There's some stuff that was like, and she takes her
I haven't
cross
followed
off
her
when
that
she knows
much.
she's being less than truthful or whatever, or because she has to push some narrative that, her bosses say. So she takes her cross off because she doesn't want to be, loped into that. But I know that JD Vance and a lot of whole other people were freaking out in the behind the scenes when Trump was just saying the most craziest stuff.
We have some news right now. We're back to the threats. Iran has 48 hours before all hell will rain down on them. Glory be to God. President Donald J. Trump.
About, Iran and all these things. Then you find out through Robert Barnes, he's a very, very well, I don't want to say well known, but very good lawyer. And I don't even know if I shared this with you or not, but I posted it on my wall and stuff and shared it with other people that were commenting about what the heck is going on with Trump. He sounds like an insane guy. He almost sounds like Biden, like just spouting off insane insanities.
His
And he
gaps are
says
getting to
that
be like Biden's.
his
Yeah.
brain, he's getting prefrontal cortex problems. He may be getting dementia and stuff like that. Then you hear about Melania left him literally it's basically just for the country that she's staying with. I'm like, what? So I don't know if Alex Jones was saying that, but I don't know if that's 100%. But then
Melania despises Trump. They essentially are not together anymore. So I just said, this looks like Melinda Gates, who found out that Bill was hanging out with Epstein and doing all this stuff and lying about it. She broke with him. And I said, this looks like she's getting ready to leave him because it just only sleeps 2-3 hours. He does get burned out sometimes. We all do. Slurs his words, all that. But, he wasn't showing signs of insanity. He is showing major flickers of that. And or like a light bulb's about to go out, it kind of burns brighter and then dims. And he's kind of very, very...
fast forward to, the night that essentially they're saying that he got assassinated, which I would like to believe that that's really what happened. But, even Alex is looking at, like, it seems like he's really nonchalant about it. And in the beginning, people were saying he was saying that he thought it was just like, when he's been to so many of these events and somebody drops a tray in the kitchen and he's like, okay, whatever. But you could see the real fear and terror on Melania's face when she's like, so, I mean, I don't know if you can fake something like that.
Well, they only need to let a few people in on it. I mean, not everybody has to know.
Too. Yeah, that's right.
It's kind of like an assembly line, where people at the beginning, they know they're building something, they don't know what the final outcome is, But
and the irony is like
Vance
you have
definitely
the press,
knew.
huh?
JD Vance definitely knew he was definitely being part of the play because I mean the way he pushed off his chair and stuff looked like he was just acting. The way he fell looked so like he had planned it.
I'm jumped the gun here. I actually, I wasn't even talking about that yet. I was still, my mind was still talking about the Iran stuff. Like they're all the young folks are freaking out, and the Pentagon's like, oh my gosh, we're not gonna obey these unconstitutional orders. He's going nuts. What the hell's the problem? They have to physically remove him from the Situation Room because he's just acting
Oh,
all
you're talking about
crazy.
gaps and that, yeah.
And apparently, they had to remove him because he's just going nuts in there screaming and stuff
Hmm.
like an old child. But it's like it's because he really cares, if you want to put it from that perspective. So you fast forward now to this event. I didn't even see the whole thing. I just saw clips, and then I saw, the guy running through security. So people were saying, no, there, he shot the guy first, and the guy, whatever.
The
He didn't just
first
let
the
him
first
pass, but
yeah,
he bum rushed or something like that. I don't know.
yeah, the
Whatever.
first picture they showed, well, the first ones I saw at least, was a guy laying on his back. I think he had no shirt on or something.
Yeah,
Um,
but I thought he got, when I first heard they said they got him, I thought he was dead.
that's what
But
I thought
apparently,
too. Yeah, they were saying they got him, but apparently he was live. But they had to retake the first picture of him because the first picture of this guy, clearly AI or generated, or maybe it was just tampered with because the way the guy's arm was folded behind his back
hmm.
was inhumanly possible, really, unless he's like a Nephilim or something. But it was inhumanly possible. I think it was his left arm was behind his back, and the way it was like bent back, but then the his forearm was
Double
bent to
joint.
the other way, and people noticed that. And they were
Yeah.
posting like, "What is this nonsense? Why would they have to put AI just because they could stage this better?" And then they
And
and then
this
they
and this
changed
is
it,
the
and then they changed the picture because the last time I saw it, it was a totally complete different picture than the one that I had seen at first. Like his arm looked normal.
and this is what this is what happens when people start noticing things, or things just don't look right, or it's like what? Then you get tired of looking at this stuff. You're like, oh, here we go again. Or
Mm.
you're just like, I'm just done. I'm just tired. I got too much going on to look into this, and you got other people looking into this, and you have to kind of go by what they're saying. It's like, I don't know. I And then you got, well, here's the thing. You got a whole full room of press people, a whole room, and people are already posting live on X and stuff. Look where I am. So if a few people are in on it, kind of like 9/11 and everything else before and after, and how can they do that, and blah, blah, when it's compartmentalization, all that stuff. Let's just think of it from that perspective. Well, then that means you got people that, oh, the few that know, and then you got the press people in there. Oh my gosh, thinking it's real, like holy crap. And then as poll numbers are down, now this apparently brings the polls back up.
Yeah, that's exactly what
It's
happened the
like,
last time when he got his ear
so,
clipped. And then
yeah,
and then they would, I'm not gonna get to it, but yeah, with the whole ear clipping thing, and then you got the flag raising above his head, and
yeah.
photographers being told to move to a certain spot to get a certain shot by the FBI so they can get the flag in the right. It was just nonsense, but
And
that's a whole other story.
the flag that looked like an angel. Again, I want to believe it. And part of me still thinks it could have happened, but then then you see all these other anomalies and this stuff, and this whole thing now. What are they saying about the supposed shooter guy? Not from Butler, but from the one that they're saying murdered Charlie Kirk. Um,
Oh, the
Now
Richard.
they're like, oh
Yeah.
well, what was the deal with his family? Or they're talking about this guy now that at the press secretary, or like
Oh,
they
I
put
don't know.
out
I
a
didn't hear anything about
manifesto
that.
before it happened or something. What was it?
Yeah, I don't. I didn't heard anything new about him other than the fact that everything's just not adding up.
Well, again, I don't. There's again, you could think about a whole bunch of stuff. I know the whole Kim Clement thing, and then I'm like, okay, well maybe this is where the new party arises because both parties are frowned on right now, and so the new party arises. Maybe
I've
this is
actually
what.
seen signs around town saying no part. What is it? No two-party system or something like that. I've seen signs. I was like, "Whoa, there's something
Yeah,
new." Because no
yeah,
party above or something like, or no party above the people or something like that is what these signs are saying.
well, here's my thought. So if this is really the case and everything that Kim Clement has said has come true, whether it's manipulated, whether it's of God, whether it's not, whatever the case is, according to what we're told, and showing all these videos showing that, okay, this has come to pass, and he predicted all these presidents and all these things, whatever. Well, maybe this is the timeline where this could be happening. Maybe
This
Trump
whole
was
prediction
just
thing, these
to bring us to where we are, and then now maybe he's done, and then bringing in a new party because people are just fed up with the system. I don't know.
no,
I don't
yeah,
know.
people are definitely waking up, and I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop where they just destroy the internet or shut it off or blame Iran or whatever they're planning on doing. But this whole Trump thing, though, you're saying about with predictions and stuff. What do you think about time travel? I mean, I'm really skeptical of it. I really don't think God would allow, or Yah would allow something like that to happen or ever happen or
Well,
manipulate
have you
time
ever?
with the whole Mandela effect, all that stuff. What do you think about that?
Okay. So whether it is in scripture, especially scripture that they took out, um, I know that the Holy Spirit, it says that, he's rush went, you could teleport in other places. I know that says in
Right.
scripture.
That's one thing to teleport from one place to another, but the time thing is just
Well, I mean, I thought there was something, unless I'm imagining it, that there was something.
there was something with time where God stopped the sun and the
Oh
moon
yeah,
for
that's
Joshua.
not.
That
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about.
right.
But I know that angels, I heard that could do that. I don't know. I don't know because there.
But then again, one day in heaven is like 1,000 years. So maybe if like one day in heaven is 1,000 years and we have 1,000 years, they're able to go back and forth between that one day. I don't know.
Possibly that it could be also that too.
Because
And
I was
then
looking
we're
at,
outside of time. We're in time and he's outside of time. I don't know. I know that the Mercury, that's why they ban it. That's the thing that causes time travel. I don't know. I know Baron Trump, Intergal. It's just weird, man. All the stuff about Trump, it's weird. It's
yeah,
just I don't
that
know.
whole Baron thing, yeah, was a whole
Yeah,
back
man.
and
It's
forth.
it's crazy.
Yeah, speaking of the whole Mercury thing, I was expecting, that that the governments and the powers that be ban Mercury for the simple fact for the free energy, which is probably one aspect of it. But the other
Well, yeah, the
aspect is the
millennial
mirror
reign stuff.
is the mirror making stuff. They totally had that under lock and key for thousands of years, the recipe. The Phoenicians and I think a couple other sects of people basically own the recipe where they could make the mirrors. And if these people, the only it was like passed down. This recipe was passed down from generation from generation, and there was actually Venetians that would actually execute mirror makers if they ever tried to leave the country or if they ever tried to give the recipes away. Like they would be hunted down. There's at least, I believe, 21 accounts of different mirror makers that were hunted down for trying to leave the country or trying to take bribes from other countries to sell the recipes.
The application of a reflective layer. Mercury, silver, tin. The most precise proportions. Too much mercury, the amalgam does not hold. Too little, the reflection is murky. The process took place in enclosed spaces. The masters breathed in mercury vapors, and many did not live to see 40 years. And here is the key point. Production required technologies that even today raise questions among specialists. In an era when there were no vacuum chambers, precision machines, and computer quality control, craftsmen created glass with such surface purity that it sometimes seemed as though you were not looking at your reflection, but into a parallel world. Where did these recipes come from? Who first created the formula for amalgam that gives such a perfect reflection? At first glance, it seems that the answer is simple. Just very skilled masters of their craft. And this sounds logical, until you ask modern glass manufacturers. Having access to advanced technologies, they confirm. Creating a perfectly flat surface of such an area requires vacuum chambers and precision equipment. So how did they do it in the 18th century without all of this? And now look at the geography of production. Mirrors were made in very specific places. Venice, the island of Murano, Bohemia, Russia. Not everywhere, but precisely there.
Which is very odd. And there's many, many, many diaries about portals being opened up through mirrors. There's accounts of not only portals being open, but like being a portal from like the spiritual world where entities might come in. That's why they had strict rules. You had to cover your mirrors at night, especially between, I think it was 11 and 3 in the morning when most of the stuff would happen.
Well, because that's when the veil is most
The
thin and all
thinnest,
that.
yeah. And they
It's
actually had astronomical signs on these mirrors. I didn't realize like that they'd actually have symbols and different I don't know what you call it. Not planetary, obviously, but astronomical.
sigils.
Segment. Rule. Cover mirrors when someone dies. Reason. To prevent the soul of the deceased from getting trapped in the reflection, which would keep them from moving on to the afterlife. Rule. Cover mirrors every night before sleep. Reason. Night was seen as a time when the veil is thin. An open mirror acted as an unmonitored window for spirits or shadow entities to enter the home. Rule. Never place two mirrors directly facing each other. Reason. This creates an infinite hallway, or devil's ladder, believed to be a stable portal that allows high-level entities to cross into our reality. Rule. Avoid looking into a mirror by candlelight. Reason. Low-light distortions, the Troxler effect, were interpreted as the mirror stealing your features or showing you a demon's face instead of your own. Rule. Never let a sick person look into a mirror. Reason. Because mirrors were thought to drain life force, it was believed they would suck away the remaining strength of the ill, hastening their death. Rule. Phoenician charge. Don't use another's mirror. Reason. It was believed a mirror belonged to its owner's soul. Using someone else's mirror could cause a spiritual infection or allow the owner to track you.
Yeah, astronomy type
I don't know,
depictions on the
man.
mirrors.
It's like part of me is like, how does this work? Are we living in a matrix simulation? But then it's like, okay, well, if the mirror dimension works and all these things, you got, the movie with Doctor Strange and
Yeah, and
all
I
these
think we
things.
showed that other video before where that girl supposedly went in that portal, and people are saying, "Oh, that's AI," and AI will
Well,
tell
I've
you it's
seen
AI.
that. I've seen those
But that,
freaky videos,
yeah, that
man.
video was taken 20 years ago before AI was even, a
Yeah.
thing. I mean, we do think it was a thing, so.
On here, and if something ends up happening to me, I just hope that this video can maybe explain it. Okay, so I have these two mirrors in my room. As you can see, they're pretty normal looking mirrors, but I was cleaning and I had them kind of set up like this, and I noticed something really weird. Just watch. See, when you look through the mirror into the other one, it becomes like a window. And there's this huge warehouse, grocery store, or something down there. But wait, it gets even crazier. Watch this.
This footage was recovered in 2001. The individual filming had discovered that two mirrors placed directly across from one another created a portal to a secondary location in another time. She entered. The camera was later found on her bed. She has not been located. The secondary location has been identified as a Kmart in Rockford, Illinois. The store closed in 2018.
Well, what is this place? Hello? How far does it go?
But yeah,
I look at I don't know, man. It's part of me is like, well, how does this work? Because if it's true, then is it part of a glitch in like quote the Matrix, or is it how when you use mirrors, is it something that interfaces with the not the ether, the stuff we can't see with our eyes? Because we only
right,
see so
the
much.
light spectrum and what.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Light spectrum is like everything's always around us all the time, and we only see like what percentage of it? It's like
Yeah.
we go batty, and especially hearing
We
too.
only
Dogs
see in
hear
the
things
in the
we
green
can't hear and
spectrum
all
is
these
what.
things.
Yeah.
Huh?
We see in the green spectrum, whereas we don't see the red spectrum or any of the other color spectrums. It's
Oh, and yeah, when we touched upon last time about with these technology they created to see different things, they freaked out. They could see,
Yeah, during Vietnam.
other entities.
This is the history of perception glass and how red night vision goggles drove soldiers mad during the Vietnam War. Late last year, reports coming out of a small town in northern Russia alleged that citizens were finding shattered glass that seemingly fell from the sky. But according to residents, this was no ordinary glass. Their claim is that when they looked through it, they would see things otherwise not visible to the naked eye. The following video was posted by a Russian citizen on YouTube, showing how this glass works. Check it out and let me know what you think in the comments.
Нифига больше не увидел. Ладно, давайте всем пока. Всем привет. Мне сказали, что в ролике у меня еще 2 шара пролетает мимо. Смотрел. Точно. Сейчас можно. Обычное небо, обычные люди, блядь, ходят, все нормально. Оп. Вот такая. Вот они. Вот они, 2 шара. Я вас видел 2 шара. Даже не заметил во время съемки, когда
and demons and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely definitely.
So when I moved, I think I told you when I moved into that old house in Beloit, it was a 100-year-old house, more than 100 years old, I think. But the family that lived there before us had built it, like it had been passed down to generation. So a lot of their stuff was still in the attic, and they had a mirror up there when we were leaving. I was just going to throw everything away and just leave it because we were moving out. And before I threw anything or left it, I would use a Google search or whatever, where you take a picture of something, it'll match it up online to what, the value of that is, and if there's anything else like it. And the one mirror was like $300. I'm like, oh, maybe I should just take that. And at the time, I just took it for the value, not really for anything else.
Could always put on an Antiques Roadshow.
Yeah, now I'm looking at this mirror. Like, does this have silver and mercury in it? Like maybe something crazy. I'll show you.
Maybe that's part of the time travel. I don't know.
And they say that the new mirrors see, like, when you look in the new mirrors, you see the worst of yourself. Like, oh my gosh, I got a pimple. In the old mirrors, it was more of a warm light they could put with candles, and it'll feature you as, a better personality. I don't know. That's just what
mirror on the wall. Who's
here
the
it is.
First of them all?
150-year-old mirror.
Can I see myself in there? Let me see if I can see.
Oh, let me see. How do I?
You were good though. You were good where you were. There. Yeah, there you go. Keep going.
I think I see you. You're not a vampire.
There, tilted to your right. There you go.
Whoa. You're not a vampire. Am I? Oh, I'm missing. Oh my gosh.
oh, you're missing.
Oh, I'm behind the mirror. Oh.
Oh my gosh. I don't know, man. There's so much lost history, so much thing they hide from us. It's who knows, man. And who knows what the millennial reign did with all of this stuff. And before that, with the
maybe that was part of the millennial reign. Maybe they did have stuff during that time, and that's why it was so secretive of those mirrors. They, God kind of hide stuff from us because he doesn't really want us knowing stuff, because he knows that man will, use it for worse, not good, obviously. Man always has the best intentions when God shows us something,
Oh, of course, absolutely. We never mess up.
Yeah, the other thing I was looking into was the hymnals, where there's 3 generations of hymnals, of the old hymnals from like 1700s and before. They focus on God's redemption and his sovereignty towards man, always protecting man. And the old songs, they also talk about like mythical creatures like dogmen and unicorns and giants, and God's always saving mankind from the calamities of earth like that, and it's kind of like praise songs to him, like, thank you for saving us from the pharaohs, thank you for saving us from like whatever other demonic beings are after us. And then they kind of switched in the 1800s to more like a piousness type hymn, like, like I'm such a sinner, forgive me type songs, which obviously the third semester of hymnals is now more focused on, Jesus is my boyfriend type songs. Like you could just change the words to like your spouse or something instead of Jesus, and you could just have a love song.
And everything is like me,
yeah,
me, help me.
Yeah,
For helping me,
I need this and I need that, and then
Yeah.
it's the 7-Eleven, where they're singing seven hymns, 7 lines 11 times,
Oh, I never heard of that. That's the first time I ever heard of that.
yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, it was kind of interesting. I was looking into that, and
Here is the summary of the three major transitions in church music history, including the specific cleaning up of Charles Wesley's work and the censorship of preterist theology. The three transitions of the hymnal. 1. The mythical era, ancient to mid-1800s. The vibe. The world is a supernatural battlefield. The content. These songs acknowledge the thin veil between our world and others. They contained references to Nephilim, giants, watchers, and even cynocephaly, dog-headed men like the original St. Christopher. The goal. These weren't metaphors. They were spiritual warfare anthems meant to recognize God's power over literal, physical monsters and hybrid beings on the edges of the world. 2. The pious/rational era, mid-1800s to mid-1900s. The vibe. I am a sinner in need of a moral compass. The content. As churches tried to appear scientific and civilized, they performed a mythical erasure. The giants and dogmen were scrubbed. The shift focus moved inward. The monsters became your own sins and character flaws. Songs focused on piety, humility, and begging for forgiveness. This is the era of I am a wretch theology. 3. The relational/7-Eleven era, 1960s to present. The vibe. Jesus is my best friend/boyfriend. The content, known as 7-Eleven songs. 7 words sung 11 times. The deep history and theology are gone, replaced by repetitive, emotional phrases. The shift. It's now about me and my vibes. The language is often romantic and therapeutic, moving the supernatural entirely into the psychological realm. Fighting shadows or anxiety instead of literal entities. The case of Charles Wesley, the edited legend. Charles Wesley wrote over 6,000 hymns, but if you look at a modern hymnal, many have been heavily edited or banned by omission. Why they were edited? Wesley was a high-intensity writer. He often used physical and graphic language that later, more refined church committees found offensive or too much for the pews. The mysticism ban, Wesley often wrote about the inner light and direct, ecstatic experiences with the divine that bordered on mysticism. To keep people following the church's authority rather than their own visions, these verses were often cut. The blood controversy. Many of his songs focused on the literal, visceral blood of Christ. As churches moved toward the rational and relational eras, they found his descriptions of being bathed in blood too barbaric, and replaced the lyrics with softer words like grace or love. Specific edits. Even a classic like Hark, The Herald Angels Sing was edited. Wesley's original opening was *Hark, how all the welkin rings, flash glory to the King of Kings. The church changed welkin, an old word for the vault of heaven, because they thought it was too obscure and archaic for the common person. Preterism, the deleted timeline. Preterism is the belief that many or all of the prophecies in the Bible, like the book of Revelation or the destruction of the temple, were already fulfilled in 70 AD. The purge of it is done theology. Many older hymns, particularly those influenced by 17th century post-millennial or partial preterist views, emphasize that Christ had already established his kingdom and defeated his enemies. The edit to Lo, he comes with clouds descending. This is a famous hymn by Wesley. Preterists argue that coming in the clouds refers to the judgment of Jerusalem in 70 AD. Modern hymnals have often changed the tense or the surrounding verses to ensure the song sounds like it is talking about a future event, effectively deleting the past fulfillment perspective. The rapture overwrite. In the late 1800s, futurism, the idea that everything is still to come, became the dominant view. Hymns that celebrated the temple's destruction as a sign of Christ's victory were simply stopped being printed. They were replaced by songs about escaping the world, which completely contradicts the preterist view that the new covenant is already fully here. I wonder how people would react at knowing that their favorite hymnals have been watered down, and that an entire view of history, like the preterist view that the victory already happened, has been edited out of the songs they sing on Sundays.
I also have a hymnal here, which I haven't really read through a lot of it. It's from the 1850s or 60s, I guess the first edition was.
Oh, you're backwards here. Okay. That's
Oh, yeah, probably.
Maybe it'll be
YROLG. Yeah, they used to spell it that wrong.
when you post it,
But I was thinking of looking through there and seeing, any sort of hidden messages. But I guess Charles Wesley had about 200 songs deleted from his hymns because they talked about the old world, which I
Really?
didn't know until AI told me that. I mean, it must be true. I
Really?
have to
I
actually
want to know
confirm
what
that, but
those songs are now, dude.
yeah, and I
What?
have the whole series of John Wesley's diaries here that my mom bought me a long time ago. Really interesting, talking about how when he came to America, he called the Indians Negroes. And when I asked my pastor about it, I'm like,
Pretty
why is he
much.
calling the Redmen Negroes? Are they black or something? Oh, it's just, they just called all the Aborigines Negroes. I'm thinking, and now that thinking back, like, no, that's probably he was seeing Negroes. It wasn't just he was saying the word black people for no reason. I'm pretty sure that when he came here back, was it the 1700s? I think he was around. Is that when
Mhm.
it's been so long since I read the journal, but I believe it was the 1700s. But yeah, they were
Well,
already here. We didn't ship them here, to become
well,
slaves.
yeah, that's the thing. And the more they're called the Moors is I hear now. Like I'm
Yeah, the
trying
whole
to figure
Isle of
all that
Califia
out.
was full of, a black tribe, and we just decided to take them over and take their gold. And oh my gosh, we got a gold rush. How'd that happen?
Right? It's like, was it not Cleopatra, the lady from California, the queen from
Queen
California?
Cliff. Yeah, yeah.
14th and 15th century maps clearly show the island of California and San Francisco, which according to the narrative do not exist. The island of California sat 50 miles off the coast of San Francisco. It was a barrier of protection against the Pacific Ocean. For San Francisco, as we know San Francisco today, looking west, there is no barrier island of California. Swept away and destroyed by an event that also stranded over 1,000 ships in San Francisco Bay for over 150 years. That event was a 9.5 magnitude earthquake called Cascadia 1700, with its epicenter at the northern tip of the island of California. A tsunami was unleashed and traveled across the Pacific and hit Japan, as well as sending a 75-foot high waves from the tsunami traveling down the west coast. It lasted 5 minutes. That is why the island of California does not show up on any maps after the 1700s. This is evidenced by the 1850 discovery of 1,000 abandoned ships in San Francisco.
So you remember the flying monkeys, Daryl, in the movie The Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, absolutely. Who are the flying monkeys of the present?
Well, they were the griffins to Queen Califia, and Queen Califia is the Wicked Witch of the West.
Oh, there.
So there they show us right there that the Wicked Witch of the West was I know, they're telling you all the stuff back in 33. Frank Baum wrote the book in 1890.
Yeah, and then you got the Native Americans here, and you got a whole bunch of stuff.
Giants,
man.
yeah,
Who knows what?
yeah.
It's probably all lies.
The red-haired giants.
Huh?
Oh yeah, the red-haired giants, which are located on the old maps pre-1800.
If it's anything like that crazy Afghanistan red giant that killed all the military guys.
Video is what you were waiting for. The direct interview with the pilot who transported the 15 feet tall Kandahar giant.
Back in 2005, I was actually stationed or deployed to Qatar. It was a completely normal mission for us. We were not alerted for anything abnormal. It was in the middle of the day. I remember coming into a base in Afghanistan called Bagram. Back in those days, it was pretty austere. It was an old Russian air base that we were using. It's basically built in a bowl in the mountains where you have to stay high right up in the last minute, and then you basically come screaming back down to land. The area to the side of it was called the Valley of Death because during the Soviet days with the Mujahideen, they had fired their rockets into a lot of the helicopters, so you could see all kinds of wrecks and stuff in the valley below, which for the most part I didn't pay attention to because I was a little busy getting the airplane on the ground safely. We landed and basically was told to taxi to the very end of the tarmac. And like I said, it was middle of the day, very hot. I remember that. We We opened the doors and unloaded the equipment that we had brought in. And then we were met at the aircraft by what we later on called the babysitters. But they kind of introduced themselves and said, hey, no cameras, nobody's taking pictures here. We're moving some high-value stuff. When the load got there, we're very, of course, curious to see what it was, because that's just the way you are when you're told that you're not allowed to have a camera. They say this thing had been dead for maybe a day or two, but it stunk. And when I say stunk, I've smelled dead things before, but this had a more of a, I want to say a musky stink, kind of a, not really a decay, but more of a, if somebody hadn't taken a shower in like 10 years type of a musky stink, is all I can tell you. And it was basically a dead guy, and this guy was extremely large. When I say large, our pallets are basically, if I remember correctly, about 9 by 12 feet or so. This guy was laying in a fetal position on the pallet, so he filled the pallet. We estimated his size at approximately 12 to 10 feet tall. I did see his skin color. I was expecting somebody of more Arabic descent, being in Afghanistan and all. I know he was dead, but he was very pale, very white. Another thing that us and the rest of the crew did was we took our feet. He was in a fetal position, so you could take your feet and put it, kind of, you could see where his feet were there, and they were wrapped up. He did not have shoes on, but he had like, looked like he was wrapping them in some kind of a canvas type stuff, but we were sticking our feet up next to his feet, and his feet were extremely big. We know that the standard weight on one of those pallets is about 1,500 pounds, and I do remember that the loadmaster did the weights, and it was around 1,100-pound guy. The pallet sits on dunnage. You know what dunnage is? It's basically like railroad ties so that you can get a forklift underneath it and pick it up. So it was on dunnage, and basic dunnage is like maybe a 4x4. And then the pallet is, say, yay thick. It's actually aluminum and balsa wood. And this guy, I mean, laying down was very, very wide. I mean, and he was, like I said, he's in a fetal position, and you go up and you hit it, and of course he's under a tarp and all that, I understand that, but he was a dense guy. We questioned the babysitters of, hey, where'd you get this guy? And some of the Army guys there with him relayed to us that this guy had, I guess, been living up in the mountains next to a village where the villagers basically treated him like a god. I did infer that they were making sacrifices to this guy because they said they found bones of people. The giant supposedly, like I said, I was not there, supposedly killed the first team that they came across. He was extremely big and fast and agile for a guy that size. They sent up another team, and when the second team went in there to get him, supposedly he had already started to basically eat on the team that had been killed the first time. They then grabbed a helicopter, and the helicopter brought him down where we picked him up. After we loaded the giant, it was just a standard mission back. We took him all the way back to Al Udeid in Qatar, where he was transloaded onto another airplane. I believe it was a C-17. I was done with my mission then. I got away from it. I was done. I did ask some questions later of, where it might have gone, and that's a great.
Yeah, that freaks me out, man.
That wasn't the first one. I guess that was they had already known about him too, because I guess when they were out and about looking for their first squadron that got taken out by the giant, they had already known about these giants. That's why they took such precautions with so many men when they went out there. But
now, pause. Do you think that they coexisted with Christ reigning for the 1,000 years, and they were like, or they just kind of like got the what is it called, the iron rod of iron smashed on them?
I think there was non-believers. I mean, I wouldn't say non-believers, but I think there was heathens living in that millennial reign. I think there was mythical creatures, and Christ did away with them, most of them at least. It says, that the dogs will be without. The dogs will be outside of the gates. So is he talking?
Oh yeah, that's right. I gotta reread Matthew 24 and all.
Is he talking about the dogmen, or is he talking about Ruff?
Yeah. it's when you look at it from that perspective, you got to reread everything. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, that makes sense. And yeah.
Yeah, and when the lady was talking to Jesus and saying, well, even the dogs get the crumbs that fall to the floor, and then Christ, at that point had mercy and like showed her redemption. So even is he saying even the dogmen can have, salvation? I mean, we got Saint Christopher, who was depicted as a dog man with a dog head, and for
Like
centuries, and then they said, oh, they just depicted him that way because the way he acted or whatever. Like,
yeah, right. Oh yeah, let me
he just
go
acted
down to
like a
the
dog. He didn't
movie.
really look like one. He just wasn't a Canaanite or anything.
I'm laughing. That's how you know. You know that phrase in the Bible.
It's funny, the
It's
Canaanites.
like, oh my gosh, man, words. Anyways,
Yeah, how we got? Like a couple minutes left?
now we got
Well,
50,
less than 1 minute.
56 seconds. I just saw
Yeah.
it turn.
All
So
right.
yeah, I guess we could just for next time if we could see what they're gonna do with these jibby jabs. Connecticut just figured they just did another baddie. We protested the whole stop religious exemptions, and they did some
Oh,
other shit.
really? Oh, geez.
Yeah, it's another shenanigans. Just look it up, guys. It's Connecticut's gonna try to beat this, so we'll see.
All righty. Well, we'll see you next week on that. And yeah, bless you. Have a good
Fauci
week.
ouchie, go to prison. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye.